watching us in the replay. And I'd like to thank my panel tonight, Garrett and Blaine, for returning. We've decided on an official name. This is TableBreakers, episode 3. And you can credit Garrett with that. Garrett had a great brainstorming session. Or maybe he just got too close to the THC friendly guy. We don't know.
No, I got nothing.
So anyway, tonight's topic is new players, how to integrate them into our games, how to get them in, how to get them up to speed, how to retain them, and train them to be working with the group.
That's the
Garrett,
hard part.
I want to go with you on this first. I want to hear what you have to say about this topic.
Well, to get new players in, it basically talk to them. What kind of player? What kind of get a little bit of a story from them, what they're playing, what their motivation is, because you can use can always use the motivation based on the arc that you're running. Uh, it's very easy to be able to slot them in, especially if you've got like in your agenda, because never make plans fail, always make agendas. uh, but in your agenda for your game, uh, to basically, if you can get them to get slotted in, sometimes they'll have to sit for a little bit, but I mean, having them set a little bit, they can already see kind of how the dynamic goes with the group. I find that actually works really well. That way they can kind of figure out what they want to do, and where they will best fit in. So the basically sit there, get them online, and get them into a spot where they can actually be introduced to the party and get the ball rolling.
That sounds pretty reasonable.
Hmm.
You when you're doing that, what do you find works best to get people into your game? Do you find that using a message board or like someone on Discord that you've been friends with for a while, or how do you usually go about doing it?
Well, I mean, currently we've got because we're doing every other Saturdays, and we kind of rotate through, and it hasn't been my time for a while. So, but typically we've got a pretty good set core of players. So, and truthfully, we've added a couple, subtracted a couple, and it's been more of, hey, I want to play. Well, this person really hasn't been pulling their weight with everything, or has been a pain in the ass with trying to get things, from A to B. So it's like, oh, well, we're starting a new game. We just will tell them we're just taking a break and let them know when we're coming back. And typically, we never let them know when we're coming back.
Yeah, we've kind of done things like that around where I'm at. I've met some people just in person, and they turn into players, and it lasts for a little while. I'm going to turn off Discord. I'm sorry about that.
No
It's okay.
worries.
Um, they have things going on, but we stay in contact. And next thing I know, we're discussing what we're gonna be playing for a game. And when you're a GM trying to get a table wrestled together, and I say wrestled, different from the word wrestle, but you grapple with it pretty hard, and it just feels like there's sometimes where everything works easy and you can execute move after move, and basically get an entire table of 4 or 6 people in together, or other times that you're stuck at like 3 people or 2 people. You're just like, well, fuck it, I'll just run with this until we get all the people we need. Can you guys run 2 characters each? You start doing things like that, and then somebody has a really bad idea, like, how about we play Gestalt?
No.
Yeah, that's exactly where I go with that. No, not at all. We're not playing Gestalt. And I have an an inborn hatred of that. It's bad enough the player's handbook and the advanced player's guide for Pathfinder are written basically to where player characters win. You just farm for experience points, and then worse yet, when I've played fifth ed or watched other people get into it, it seems like it's the same thing but on crack. It just happens more often. Oh, we slaughtered 400 orcs today. Well, if you're back in second edition AD&D, slaughtering a band of 5 orcs would be a nice thing because they usually kill you. But it's just kind of different, and trying to get people together for a game is sometimes you wrestle with it.
Yeah.
I'll talk about some other things, but I'm going to throw this to Blaine since right now we have Blaine in there. Oh God, we have a person in the chat. Shadzar says, "How the hell was I in the stream for Grumpy from September 26th?"
What?
Bruce, you need to delete that stream so it doesn't screw up for other people. Don't do Twitch thought mode on YouTube if you want viewers for streams. You aren't big enough to need only sub chat mode. Oh, the reason why I'm doing that, Shadzar, is that I don't want spammers. Like last time.
We had the issue last time where the person came in and put a whole bunch of raunchy crap in. So it's only for 5 minutes.
It's for 5 minutes, and most of these people that are hell-bent like that don't have that patience. They usually don't. They should. If they want to be a dick, they should be patient, but they're usually not. So like 80% of them hit that wall and they just go away.
That works.
Yes. All right, Blaine.
Unlike everybody else, what was that question?
No, you have a vacancy at your table. Like half your table is changing classes or not going to be able to make it next semester. I know you probably have a new table every semester, don't you?
About half. I rotated out about half a semester. And occasionally I might get one for multiple years, but not very often. But usually what I end up having is I have students going, hey, I know somebody who wants, I almost never had a problem of having empty chairs. I think I've had a grand total in the last 7 years, 3 sessions where I had less than 4 people at the table. So I more have to tell people to stop bringing friends in. So because once you hit 6, I can't say no to students. They pay, they're supposed to be there. So you might have 6 to 8 of them, but the problem is that you just get new ones constantly.
Wow. Shadzar's already starting. Shadzar had a statement he made from last chat. We could talk about that after we talk about getting new people in, because that's going to take up a little bit of time, probably about 5 or 10 minutes, I think.
But
go ahead.
But to continue on with that is that, but since I'm constantly having to integrate new players, and for some of us, we have the benefit of we're older players, we're older GMs, so who we're going to recruit tends to be older players, tends to be veteran players. So it's be one of those things where it's like, oh hey, you want to come join I join a game, and it's like, yeah, I've been playing this game since since 1982, and I still have my original dice that I remember. I had to use a crayon to go marker in, and I know how to play this game. I just jump right in. I'll be just fine. Perfect. And for the most part, you move out from that point. It's like, but the thing is that if you run a gaming club at a school or work out of a gaming store, you tend to actually have more players than you have GMs. In fact, there's always a problem with that. So you actually run into, hey, this is my first time playing. How do I play this game? And you bring them into it, and well, you gotta, as much as it'd be fun to always say, jump in, throw them in, into the deep end, let them drown. and then pull them out at the last second, and throw them back in. Be asshole GMs like we all are in our hearts. It comes down to just simply getting and working through them and asking them like, so, what did you hear about the game? Like, how did you get to my table? And it's like it's almost an interview, but you can't say no at the end of it. And so everybody brings their own point of view in. Everyone brings their own experiences in. So you got to be able to tailor the game, because the game is quite expansive. It can be fun and versatile if you're willing to work with somebody. So if somebody comes in saying, "Oh, I know X movie or X series or X source material," you can go, "I can't recreate what you're wanting, but I can get you close." And then you just work with them, and then suddenly they're now engaged and interested. And hopefully, because the reason why they're at your table is because they've heard your friends talk and their friends talking about it, and they'll be like, "Oh shoot, this sounds fun. This sounds interesting." And now they're coming to you, and they're excited and interested in what you're doing, and now they want to be able to put their character into it. And it's actually kind of interesting and more fun. But it all comes down to you as the game master, as you as the host, has to have a broad enough creativity to be able to take their idea and then shape it into something the rules will actually work with. Which means you got to be mentally flexible, know the rules well enough to be able to take a guy who has no idea what he's doing and then give him a fun character. Because I remember the days back when I was first learning, and I was told I have no idea how to play D&D, and then some guy threw a fighter at me and said, "Good luck, enjoy playing the game." And honestly, that really wasn't a lot of fun, because I'm playing fighter. What do I do? Move around. Other people are playing the game for me. Like I'm not actually. I wasn't able to enjoy that first couple sessions, that first campaign, because I was playing what somebody else told me to do. You need to be more engaging. Let the other person figure out what they want to enjoy, and then tailor it around them a little bit to know that is to get their feet wet, so that way when you run the next campaign, they now know the rules. They now know how to do this, and they're now able to go, "This is what I actually want," and then let them go. Let them have fun.
That's pretty reasonable. That's very reasonable. A lot of times whenever we have a break-in game, most of the time at about the third or around fifth level, I will pre-program in kind of like a point where if the players aren't enjoying themselves, they can eject out of the campaign, with a plan like, "Hey, this is my last game." They just, they tell us ahead of time, I'm done with this. I want to focus on other things or find another group. No offense to anybody here,
Yeah.
but I'm just not compatible. And I try to do that around third or fifth level, where I feel we should be able to break, because you're going to have some people that just aren't compatible with the group. Some people just they are toxic to one or two people, or maybe the entire half the table or the whole table, and you don't know. So like I always try to have that. And after we have that little mini campaign, because you want to do something like have like a war or you want to do fun stuff. If you're a DM, you're like, "I want to run during this period here," and so you run like a war campaign, or you do like an investigation, and at the end of it, it's over. And you could continue with those characters if you want, but now that the players know you and your style of game, now it's time to let them play.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
let them play the way they want to.
I also pre-program it, like when it's a new player, like to my veteran players, the ones who've been with me for either, because I do have a number of alumni slots which I rotate in who's an alumni at the time. Like, sorry, this semester you can come and join in, because I want more people who are veterans to be able to play, and my fellow teacher can be able to play, and we all have a bunch of fun with that. But the thing is that much like how you have that level 3 to 5 entry point of like when someone goes, "Oh, they can drop out," or like we actually found more like with the new players, it's always you give them about like 3 to 5 adventures, and then you go, are you satisfied with the character that you made, with the choice that you made? And you give them a chance to drop that character and make one that's more appropriate, or revamp. Like, well, I wasn't quite sure what I was playing, so I'm going to revamp a few of my choices, a few of my skill choices, and I'm like, this is your one chance to revamp it. Give it a shot. Training wheels are off now. This is your one shot. Enjoy. And then suddenly you find players go, wait, I could do what I want. This is your one chance to for a redo. And then suddenly, we all same characters, same name, same class, but now they're a bit better, a bit more interesting, or they just drop that character entirely and come in. You get to have the players feel more engaged. They've learned enough to be able to play, and you also can't just hold them by the hand and say, this is the answer you're looking for. Open to page XXX or whatever the heck you're looking at. Just open to this page. There's your solution. No, we've had to learn, and I've had to learn, that the best way to teach it is simply look it up yourself. With all the resources that we have on the modern internet, with the way things work now, you can literally just say, go to Google, do a search, find your solution. And they'll have page numbers of where to look in, what book it's in, all the solutions, and then suddenly people are able to go, and that way they're getting system mastery. They're learning the rules at the same time. Sure, I'm in the rules and I'll help them in a pinch, but when they need to make their choices, they need an educated choice. So they need to actually read the book, learn the manual, do it, damn it. And
well, you'll have some people out there that they
will never do it.
not want to look at the manual. They'll want to look at like a web page.
And you
they'll
know
look
what?
Okay, go ahead.
And the thing is that the web page is, for a lot of kids for a lot of the younger kids who don't have a lot of disposable cash, like some of us who I have, like, heck, for some of us, the idea of, well, I went and blew, $300 on a bunch of books for this game I want to play. That's not an option for these kids. So having the digital option of, like, go to a website, that's an actual valid solution, because, well, you're giving people who don't have the ability to own a player's handbook, an advanced player's handbook, the super advanced player's handbook, the ultimate combat handbook, the ultimate spellcasting handbook, the ultimate intrigue handbook, rogue handbook, campaign handbook. Fill in the blank. Keep seeing all the ultimates in there, and the spell books, and all this, and the magic item books, and all of these, and the backgrounds, and the little campaign books, gear. All of this piles up to being a massive amount of money that we're asking kids to be able to go, I gotta pay for a bunch of other things, and I don't have this kind of money. Well, do you want to buy the PDF? Again, I don't have that kind of money. Like, that's still hundreds of dollars that, to someone who's between the ages of 16 to 24, they don't really have that kind of free cash. So encouraging them to go look at the wikis, or go look online onto the various rule forums and rule databases, is not a sin. And I know a lot of us are like, oh, no cell phones, no smartphones, no nothing. But for the kids who are like, this is my spell book, this is my character sheet, this is my my class reference document. I have to when I suddenly have kids, like, now mind you, I can walk around the table and look around and go, hey, you're not, turn that off, pay more attention. Turn that off, pay more attention. Like, I can at least walk around the table and go, hey, but for most of them, they have their documents open, and they're working and they're working quite well. A lot of us are old six in the muds, and we think, well, you need to have dead tree format or go home. That's not an option. With newer generations, that's not quite the option anymore.
And I forget that. I do. I'm 46, And it's been what, 25, 30 years since I've been a teenager. I forget about those things. The thing is that you're good, you're walking around, you're getting to see what everybody's looking at, much like a teacher would patrol a classroom.
And between me and my cohort in crime, we are the teachers of the classroom for the sessions. And yeah, we do keep them on task. We are, and being the fact that we are the authority figures, a bit more than simply "you're at my house," we can simply go, pay more attention, or we revoke your invitation to come to the club meetings. We can do that. We have a bit more power. Now, as for the more than an index card of gear, you've obviously not played with people who design, entire wardrobe lists and keep track of all that, or have equipment, friends, allies. Like some people have multiple index cards or reams of paper that they have written for certain characters, and they have it for every situation. So yeah, more than an index card is it happens.
I can understand that.
When Blaine plays a character, it always happens.
And Shadzer's like, I do not play with furries and cosplayers. Okay.
Hey, I've played noble characters where I have adventuring gear, off-time gear, dress uniforms, and the whole 9 yards. You get and servants who carry things around with me. So therefore, yeah, you have a lot to work with.
What was the name of that book that Margaret Weiss wrote? And it was a Dragon Brigade Volume 1. I forget the name of the actual novel, but the novel was interesting because it was set in a Victorian era fantasy world that had a little bit of steampunk, but a lot of magic. Or it felt like it was kind of steampunk because there was airships, but there was a ton of magic. And the book paid more attention to the wardrobes and fabric of the characters and what all the characters in the scenes were doing. It made so much focus on that. The only way I could compare it to would be the way, if you ever read the book Light in the Forest, where this young man takes his child out in the forest or out in the jungle, and his son goes missing, but his son gets found by a tribe of Indians, and they find him and they raise him, and the father goes back every year to look for his son, and he finally finds him. And as he's developing the story, this guy, the author, goes through a botany course of information for the reader. And if you are somebody who watches PBS and really just, you can't pass by a greenhouse without stopping and just like smelling pollen and rubbing yourself with greenery and wishing you were a plant so you could gain energy from the sun, you wouldn't like this book so much, because that's the level of attention to detail Margaret Weiss and her co-author went into on fabric and texture and cut and color for all of the characters' wardrobes. And you saying that, Blaine, sparked up that memory. Now, I'm not saying that's bad, but it was a little bit more description than what Bruce needed. I was pretty okay with her level of wardrobe that she used for her books for Dragonlance or for the Dark Sword series.
Yeah.
Those were really good, but the Dragon Brigade books paid a lot of attention to the wardrobes. It was amazing. It's like watching a stream with Max, and every time he says Earth Dawn, you drink.
Yeah.
So
see, and the thing is that with different groups, you can get away with that. I've been in groups where wardrobe and attire and what things are made out of are exceedingly important. I've been in groups where the fact that you just said I put on clothes today was more than enough for what the GM needed, and that's all you needed to worry about, and that's okay. So, but again, that comes down to know your players, know your group. If your group goes, we don't care about attire, you just move right on, and keep on GMing. So,
I'm going through the chat here.
What?
Hey, Jaffo of Dick's Division, how you doing, sir? Beers. If I hand the tools and resources, I want to build all my tune stuff. Okay.
yes.
So, you have your game, and you run like 5, maybe 10 adventures with the party, and usually by about adventure 3 to 5, you've started to get a really good idea as a GM of how all the players are interacting. Hey, Cal,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. And I don't like to boot people from groups, even if I don't like them. If somebody's consistently downing, like your apartment's too small, or I don't like the way that this table's set up at the game store. If they're insulting the game space, if they're insulting to other players, I don't keep them at the table. That's like the only thing that like will get somebody out of the table within like 2 or 3 sessions.
That's a lie.
Okay, well, I mean, if they hit on my girlfriend,
Because no. Because I dogged your pizza every week for months, and I never got kicked out.
yeah, but your wife would
It
have
was
killed you.
well, true, but
Your wife-
it's also a loaf of bread with pizza toppings.
I've gotten better.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's funny. Earth Dawn, because I need a drink. Yes, we all do. Okay. So with getting people to the table, one of the other things I like to use Discord. I like to use that because a lot of people are subscribing into online gaming groups. Hi, Multi-Gun Man. It's going very well. A lot of people do this online gaming, and I'm not a super fan of it, but one of my players moved to West Virginia last year. We're still mourning his loss out of Texas, but he's doing better. He's got a better ability to breathe. Texas has got a lot of great things. The one thing it has way too much of is ragweed.
Yes.
That kills it for some people. And this poor
Is that
guy.
is that
Go
what you're
ahead.
calling your exes now?
No. We call them far worse things. But we got a lot of ragweed here, and he was just miserable. And I'm always like, "What's your problem? What's your problem?" And then the other day, I mean, there was 6 sneezes that I had at once, and I felt like my sternum disconnected. I must be getting old because a sneeze kicked my ass. I don't like that. So
I
yeah,
heard a giggle in the background.
yeah, she dogs me on that shit. Aha! Sneeze like 3 to 6 times. That's normal. No. This time was 8, and it felt like part of my chest had separated, so I had to go sit down for a while. It wasn't funny, but everybody does online gaming now. Not everybody. You have guys like John who he's like, I will not do it. I want an in-person group. Okay, that's fine. I wish you luck doing that in Alabama, but I think it's possible. And
Weekend trip.
yeah, weekend trip. So it's interesting to hear people talk about that. But I use Discord to majority of my games. I will do everything I can to get somebody set up on that. Like we've got this character from Scotland who's in our game now.
Oh, Joe.
And
We love Joe.
Joe's a very young kid. He's like 16, so we got to curb ourselves a little bit around him. He's
Oh, no, you
usually
don't.
he's like this other little kid used to come game with us, a 13-year-old kid that we would be like, don't say the X-rated words or content. But no, here's that little fucker sending everybody memes of that exact same stuff on our phones, and all of our phones are going off all at once at the table. Damn it. What the hell? Oh my God, you're sending us that? Eventually, he got tired of coming because he was here for 2 years and he enjoyed the camaraderie. He did not like the game. Being on YouTube, you think you'd be used to it, getting it from behind, Bruce. Yeah, I tell you what, Aunt Susan really loves that. She loves my hairy butt. Yeah, but I use Discord. I think that's a really good way to advertise it because you're already in a group of people. You're already sharing something. There's already a common tie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can talk to people one-on-one, or if you can talk to them like in a panel like what we have here, I think this is how a lot of gaming is going to be from now on. I don't want it to be. I'd much rather it be in person, but people are really, like, ever since the flu came out in 2020, it's like everybody got germophobic. And that's kind of funny because I just watched this movie from '94, the original miniseries for the Stand, which a lot of people don't like, I found out, but I liked it.
I did too.
It fulfilled the needs that I had. I haven't watched the new one. I don't even think I want to watch it because it's new and everything
The
new seems to suck.
the newer one expands of more stuff in the book. Stuff that they
Okay.
kind of glossed over in the original because it was broken up into three. I think they put like 6 or 7 episodes or something like that. And it's actually they did it justice. I will say that.
Okay.
Does
So
it have a Blue Oyster Cult in it?
Did it have what?
Does it have a Blue Oyster Cult in it?
I don't remember.
Ah,
yeah, that's
Possible.
kind of one of those things it needs to have.
that original opening was just magical. So
Ooh, somebody's got a Genesis version of the Warriors of Eternal Sun. You're going to enjoy that.
yes.
Rather be in bed pantless online to be able to play all the games. Well, as long as you're not, tubing a stream, I guess you're good.
Yeah, true.
That's what voice and text are for.
That's what blankets are for.
Ugh.
Yeah, there was one thing about new players. You kind of have to watch them for a little bit, and once you get an idea if they're trustworthy or not,
You can start.
you can go ahead.
You do have to watch them because you're not quite sure what weirdness they're going to bring with them to the table, and because certain things you can't say around certain people, and you kind of got to go because unless you're going to do an actual hardcore interview of so what are your beliefs, what are your interests, and at that point you're kind of putting people off who might be fun people to play with because you're doing a hardcore interview and a personality test. I mean, that tends to tell people maybe I don't want to be here. Hell, that's a red flag. It's like if you go, I'm going to show up for this game, and we don't want X, Y, Z, and this, and this, and this, and I'm like trying to figure out how to escape out the door faster because I'm like, shit, you're this strict. Okay, this isn't going to be a fun game. But then again, I've also been to tables which have been really open, and I rapidly go, this was also a mistake. They're way weird. And then I'm also reaching for the eject handle and going, okay, let's pull up tight, pull the eject handle, and leave.
So that's why you don't come over anymore. I see.
Yeah, next session. Like, hey, are you gonna be at the next session? I'm busy. Work. So sorry. So sorry.
Well, no, you have to pull the ejection handle. There is listen, guys, I really enjoyed playing with you, but I've got a new schedule from work.
Yeah,
And
I've done that one. I've also I've also had one group where I showed up for, and I literally was like, I'm going out for like, they're like, hey, we're at a break. Everyone go out for like drinks and food, and I'm like, sure thing, and grabbed my stuff and was gone. Like that was the mistake. So
So you've literally abandoned a player group.
yes,
Like, yeah, I'm going
because
for scratchers and cigarettes, kids.
yep, because there's a certain point where you realize that when you realize that you've gone into the magical fantasy world where no, this isn't what I like. I'm not comfortable with this at all. Bye. Which is really weird to say because I'm have an extremely weird high tolerance to most weird bullshit. So when they hit the weird bullshit meter at the top of it, I was like, oh, mm, bye.
Usually that's when I just sit back, grab the popcorn, and go, "What's gonna happen?"
No, not on this one. Normally I'm in your boat. Normally I'm the one who's like the captain of the weird ship boat. Not today. Not that time. So
It's like a buddy of mine. He was a bus driver who was in some of our games, and someone goes, "We're all going to hell," and we're like, "Yes," and force is driving us because he was a bus driver.
but the thing here is also in person, I don't run into so weird it's so weird it hurts, or I need to be more strict. It's usually when I decide to go, well, I've got a free Sunday, I'll try to go join a game online. That's when I start encountering the standards. I need them. Oh God, and leave a lot. So take care.
Take care, Max. Thank you, sir.
Bye, Max.
Um, I really getting a group together. Almost, you feel like a director sometimes because you're trying to see what people can hang out and get along well. Uh, being at a game store is almost the ideal situation.
Yeah, because there's like a small little like almost an unspoken contract of like there are of well, you're in public, so you got to act a certain way, and that helps a lot.
I'm a big fan. I used to run at a game store a lot, but you have to have it PG-13 at hardest.
Oh yeah,
If you
definitely.
can't run at PG-13 level,
Uh huh.
I don't think it really works well. I really
No,
don't.
and
Hey, Carol.
yeah,
Cookies.
and PG-13 is great. It's like I'm rapidly learning that that everyone is okay with extreme amounts of violence, but you try to go anywhere else, and suddenly it's the censors come up and go, no, 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 back up. Like, but I'm trying to explore interesting, concepts I can teach. No, no, don't. All right, I'll pull
Don't
back
do
for
it.
now. Which is why I dream of someday being able to find, a group of a free day in my life that's not taken up, and B, adults to actually game with. So, and where I'm not having to be all PG-13. By
Yeah,
God, that day will be magical.
like there are certain things that I've discovered thanks to the wonders of streaming, what you can mention and what you can't mention.
Yep.
And had an individual in another stream talking about their fiction projects, and one of the other people in chat said, "What do you write about?" He's like, "Well, I have a lot of things. I have to do a little bit of Doctor Who." And then he said something else, and she's like, "What was that?" And he's like, I write brony porn."
Oh,
And that that derailed our entire chat. The entire chat was gone. And the panel, I'm pretty certain some people were like, "Oh my god, how stunning and brave this person's admitting this on a stream. That's awesome." And other people were probably laughing. But I learned this just this week, what you cannot and you can talk about because you can talk about certain things you like I'm a person who prefers brunettes, and other people are like, well, I prefer blondes, or I prefer whatever, and that's okay. But when you say I write this,
No.
yeah, it's like, oh
Oh.
God. And so we watched the school bus get airborne and then sail into the side of a mountain. And I'll
As-
never forget that, chat. That was great.
That at that moment, that's when you put both hands in the air, lean forward, and go. "Whoop."
Toon
Yeah.
was driving us. Toon says the cat who could drive a car. Every time he drove a car, he wrecked.
I think the other weird part I'm discovering is that when everybody's in a group, everyone's normal or within reasons of normal. But the
Normal.
problem here is that being the guy in charge, everyone wants to talk to me in private, and that's when I find out just how weird everyone really actually is. When it's like, hey, I got this cool idea, and in the back of my head, that's not a cool idea. Could you please stop that? Or that's a cool idea. Never repeat that to anyone who breathes ever again. But are you against it? No, I'm totally okay with it. But I'm okay with that. No one else here is. Not one person. So keep that between you and you. Don't even act like you told me anything, okay? That's cool.
Possible deniability.
Yeah, trust me. Like the less I know, the less I can say to anyone else.
Oh, you're just now catching up on chat, Bruce? I've been giggling the entire time.
And as for what is this normal that I speak of, it is this fake illusion that everyone puts upon themselves so that way we can all hide the fact that we all have some horrifying dark kinks that we should never talk about in public. Ever.
Exactly.
Ever.
But don't worry, everyone has it. As everyone has at least one, if not more. And the less anyone talks about it, the better.
I just discovered that having Siri read brony porn to you is quite possibly the funniest thing you'll ever do in your life. And it was better than having Gilbert Gottfried's little video from iFunny or whatever it was where he read the 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And he takes the thumb and goes around and around.
Trust me, I would like to not fake normal. I would just, but you know, I don't want to get thrown out of school, so therefore.
But I'm just saying that if you must explore, go for the exploration all the way. Do something horrible, deviant, and that way.
No, it's not a pony porn poster. It's a different flag behind that flag.
Well, no, he says he's accusing you of having a Pennsylvania behind that poster.
Oh, man, no.
Okay. No. Okay. So, and by the way, don't ever talk about brony porn to your first time player. You'll never see them again.
Or worse.
Yes.
Or worse, they'll suddenly go, "Oh, you're a brony too? Oh, crud." And now you've opened a door of like you can't close. Like you open the Pandora's box door, you can't close it again because they put their foot in like a used car dealer. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I have your attention now. No, you don't. No, you don't. Yes, I do.
If you want to see the greatest thing ever, Google Betty White, I'm still hot. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
No.
Yes.
The reflection off Blaine's glasses will be priceless.
Blaine's writing it down so he'll look at it later.
Just so I can just understand, taking notes from the future. You go, nope.
No, it's actually not bad. It's a song that she did. It's actually pretty damn good.
Okay, as long as it's not like the song that Natalie Portman tried to rap about 8 or 10 years ago. That was horrible.
Betty actually raps very well within it. It's actually pretty damn amazing.
I'm not well in the head either, so it's okay.
But see, everyone loves Carol. Do you know why? Because she has cookies.
Yes,
Fair enough.
we all dearly do love Carol's cookies.
Oh,
And her biscuit too.
oh my.
Yes. So, damn. As long as it's not 100 naked photos of B. Arthur from her holiday special outfit, I'll be happy. I can't strike that from my memory. I'll start looking to do that for you, but sure. Yeah. Carol's thing is goggles, by the way.
The goggles, they do nothing.
The goggles stay on.
The goggles do nothing.
After we get these new people to the table, we're playing them with the rest of the group. They've integrated. At what point does the newness wear off of them?
Honestly, it's different by certain people. Some people are quiet and they act all, but I think there's a certain point where you just know that they are no longer new. Like you just can just feel it. Some people are just always going to be that new guy, and you're just going to be like, God damn it, whenever they talk, and you just got to deal with that. But sometimes that I think the point where I stop, where you pull the training wheels off of them and let them go, and then crash into a tree at their own will, is the point when they start to quote rules back at you, or make intelligent questions as if they're planning something, and that's when you know that they are no longer that fresh newbie that you're like, oh, isn't he cute? I could punch him in the face; it'll be great. But that point when they're just like, so, hey, GM, I got a question about this rule here. All right, go ahead. And then they ask you, and then you have a little interaction, and then like a half hour later, oh yeah, that thing I asked you about, I'm gonna go do that. Or hey, what's your read on this? And that's when you go, your water wings come off now. Push.
Into the deep end.
Good luck. But I wasn't ready. No, you're ready. Good luck. And yes, always beware the planners. There used to be a running gag on one of my old groups, and that's quite literally a purple rock joke where somebody asked me once, can I have a purple rock? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's purple rock. Go ahead. And then he literally had a 12-step plan that went from working his way up to ultimately requiring a purple rock to make it all work. Well, I didn't realize that but he asked me all the steps out of order. And when he put the whole thing together, it turned out to be the purple rock was the key item. And if I had seen the whole thing in its completeness, I would have said no to the purple rock. But he asked for the purple rock first, before I had any clue what was coming. And that taught me you must always beware of plotters and planners, because, well, I was young and he broadsided me, and I still hold that as a grudge 22 years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Always beware when Curtis starts asking questions too, because it usually means someone's either getting drunk, dead, or something else. it never fails in a game.
Yeah.
I still like that comment of Shad's though.
The joke he declared that Bruce is Dr. Scratch and Sniff, Blaine is Pinky, and Garrett is Brain.
I can live with that.
I can deal with it. Yeah, I'm alright with that.
I could fully deal with having a serious question being responded with a completely inane answer, and that being mine. I can live with that.
If he starts going wrong, going Narf, we got an issue.
Hey, the important thing is that it's usually Pinky who saves everything in the anyway, so it works.
Pinky's actually the smart one.
I haven't watched Pinky and the Brain since '96.
They just had a new season last year, first of this year.
Actually, for the question of about players that read between the lines because the GM forgot something, I actually kind of reward and encourage that, because if I gave you information and they're able to put together a plot point that I hadn't talked about, or remembers that something that I had said later down the road, like maybe 5-6 sessions down the road, and they go, "Hey, what about this?" At that point, I go, "You took notes. You remember details. Have a gold star and a few nice little pats in the head and some rewards in character. Good for you."
Here's your new card, your new index card with your stuff.
It's got some nice stuff on it. Why? Because I'm rewarding you for taking notes. The rest of you take notes.
You know, there's something to be said about a game system that allows you to put all your information on a 4x6 index card. All of your character information, not your equipment, but just the things about you that you need to keep pertinent.
Tiny RPG, I think, is the one that I know of that does that pretty well.
Learn to write really, really small.
Well, the one I like a lot is Swords and Wizardry.
Okay.
But you could do any of the first edition OSR clones or old school essentials, any of those could be just fine. Because most of those old games only require to have your saving throws, your ability scores, and that's it.
Hey, if you could fit your entire character on one of these, that's fantastic.
Now, the equipment, I think, is good to write equipment on index cards. And at the table, if you've got a in-person gaming group, if you can hand out that's great.
That is nice.
Then we have the one person that writes down everything.
Yes. Who was that with our group for the part-timers, Garrett?
That was Roberto. That was Senor Roberto.
Senor Roberto. Yeah, he was really good about that. Shadzar is, for those of you guys that don't know, Shadzar he bought a sickening amount of Hero Quest. And unfortunately, the current shipping quote unquote crisis has got it to where they're talking about when things will be delivered. He got a shipping update for one of his threes. One of his three. It's crazy. Heroic Tier got fucked, he says. They're actually putting out the Mythic Tier first look of the shipping updates, which that's probably not good. Parrothead says, I have a buddy when he was younger, played a game with modern weapons, and the DM warped him to a fancy game and then took away their guns.
Now, see, that's just being a dick.
The game that I really like, but no one really plays it around here anymore, and I need to do some digging to see if I can try to get that rolling, is Morrow Project. Because that you can actually it's literally a survival game. You're in a bolt hole. You've got your equipment that you were put in stasis with, and then boom. And you can even use landmarks right where you're at.
Yeah.
And
still waiting on Twilight 2000. I really am.
Well, you could break out Moral Project or Metamorphosis Alpha, or there's a Siege Engine. The people who make Castles and Crusades Troller games, they have a game like that where you are on a large ship with different habitats all over the craft, and you have to figure out how to survive. It sounds like a really good game. Man of War, Neighbor of the Beast is another one that got really big into the Hero Quest update for one of 3 mythics before the stream started. Shit. Parrothead says the DM did not take away their guns, and he was the only one who caught that, including the DM. No, the DM didn't take away their guns, and he was the only one who caught that, including. Okay, so the DM didn't catch he took away their guns. Damn it. That I thought initially that was dickish, but looks like there might have been some miscommunication.
Oh, then that would have been more okay.
Yeah,
A campaign would be fun to play.
I don't know. There's elegance in being able to have a game that doesn't have a whole lot of bookwork, but there's also times where you do want heavy amounts of bookwork. It just all depends on what game you're running and
What mood you're in.
Yeah, exactly. What mood are you in? What do you want to play today? And that's kind of where that goes.
And sometimes,
go ahead.
And sometimes you do have to worry about having what you as a GM want and what the rest of what the players want. And sometimes you got to tailor the fact that you may want to, like, I may decide that one day I want to run a very rules light, story focused game, and then I'm told by everybody else, no, they want to keep playing Pathfinder, they want to keep playing Dungeons and Dragons. And at that point, you just kind of go, welp, I guess I can either tell everyone else to go screw themselves and do what I say because I'm the GM, or I got to adapt what I want to their desires. They want a crunchy rule system with levels in it. We're gonna play a crunchy rule game engine with with levels in it. That's what we're gonna do, and we're going to have fun. And I'm going to make the game tolerable for me and playable for them, because at the end, everyone has to enjoy having fun.
That's bad. I saw his name and I'm sitting here. The only thing that went through my brain all of a sudden was everything is awesome.
Hey, awesome one.
I don't know.
Made a discussion or a discussion piece about Paranoia, one of the best RPGs out there if you want a one-shot game.
Yep.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know about Paranoia, it's a game where you typically will have 6 clones of each player or each player character. You have 6 clones. You can buy more if you need to, but for right now, the computer has woken you up and it informs you that the computer is your friend and you're to hang out with these people and achieve some jobs. If you can achieve some jobs for the computer, then maybe your clearance will raise. If you can raise your clearance, you're a better friend to the computer than the other people. The computer is your friend. He says so. Also, the computer tells you you have a slight mutation. Here's what your mutation is. And then the computer says all mutants must be destroyed. Oh, by the way, you're also a member of this secret guild. Any guilds or fraternal orders are against the law. The computer does not like lawbreakers. It is a wonderful buddy fucker of an RPG. And once you die, they howitzer your clone into your place so you can continue playing. Yeah.
I don't own it anymore, but I used to own Human Occupied Landfills, so you should always trust friend computer.
The Zarlord.
Oh no. Shazar brings up the Black Dog Game Studios Crown Project. Human Occupied Landfill,
Yep.
which was a 96 or 97 release. And
I think it was a little earlier than that, but yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Had fun skill names, like putting sharp items into things that scream and bleed. It was a skill name.
It's like that game was barely playable if you tried. It was a great read, but barely playable.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of playtesting on that.
No, but the layout and design work was phenomenal.
Yeah, it looked sharp.
Oh, your internet hiccup, Bruce. Your quality.
My internet hiccup.
Yeah, your quality just went.
Yeah, yours just did too. Blaine's is still sharp.
Mine's sharp on mine, so I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, so we're at the hour mark, and we've discussed various ways to integrate players into the table. I would say use Discord or a live gaming group, a game store if need be. It's a wonderful place to meet people. Probably not the best place to run a game, but if you want to get quote unquote street cred with the local gaming scene, running at a store never is going to hurt it. You're just going to help increase their profits.
Also, stores are great for first contact, where we get to first meet a player, because they'd at least play nice for a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a good place to get in touch with people, and to if you can get on the game store owner's good side, if you can become an acquaintance of theirs, or somebody who's trusted by them. Garrett, how long were you a key holder at the store in Washington?
Couple 3 years.
Yeah. You get to trusting to the trust mode with a game store owner, and you can run games well into the evening.
Oh
Or you
yeah.
can help mind the store. You can help them develop even more profits, more sick, obscene profits. And you want to do that because if you don't have a game store that's local to you, you're going to be stuck with Amazon or mail order and internet play, which those are not bad options, but it's preferable to have a game store close by. It really is.
My issue is that
Hey Garrett, how many nights did were we there till like dawn? So
Oh God.
several.
Yeah.
more than one.
And it
Yeah.
usually involved going next door to the bar for a little bit, then coming back. That was we go over to have a drink and a shot, come back and play more.
Yeah, that was very much the case.
Man, there's a name I haven't seen in forever. Get into a Polish joke off with John Wisniewski. John used to be the game store owner in Decatur, Illinois for Beyond Hobbies and Games. And then he went into some other vocation after he closed that store. But that was one of the more successful stores Decatur ever had. There was a lot of people there was one guy in Decatur, he opened up 4 stores. They lasted for 3 months each, or it felt like it. And his claim to fame was he had a lot of Judges Guild material. It was bad. TW, appreciate you being here. Haven't seen you in a while. I just remembered that. Yeah, John was a hell of a game store owner. He did pretty well. Him and I went up to Fort Wayne for the Chessex convention when it was Chessex before it became Alliance. And that was interesting because I got to meet some big movers and shakers. That was in 97, right after Random House had tried to buy TSR, and TSR was financially waxed. They were in the middle of their Planescape stuff and trying to push product. And then here's this big book publisher saying, we're going to take your company, we're going to fix it for you. And TSR tried to stay independent, and they succeeded, but they were financially weak at that. And so they he emailed me. Cool. It wasn't long after that the Wizards of the Coast popped up and said, "We have this little game called Magic the Gathering. Would you like us to help you out?" And I didn't think it would be the best thing. I was rather sad. But man, it was different.
Well, I'm just happy that one little part of TSR got bought out and is still being produced. So,
Yeah.
which is Dragon Dice.
Wait, that's still around?
Oh yeah, they're still they had tournaments at Gen Con this year.
Okay.
I was in a couple.
Someday I need to play that game just once to see what it's like.
It's fun.
All right.
I have to find all my dice, and I mean, I've got 2 huge bags.
That's the negative right there.
Oh,
Yeah, you have a good edition of a game come out for 4 or 6 or 10 years, and then a new version comes out that is not as friendly or compatible, and you've got to convince the store owner to keep letting you run the old stuff. Which is funny because Pathfinder 2 has been a thing since 2019 or 18, and I'm just now starting to see it get a little bit of discussion and play.
well, at
Go
least
ahead.
with my group, when we were resistant as heck to Pathfinder 2 until the advanced player's handbook arrived, and then we were like, okay, they're finally adding in the things that we were all missing, and then we actually like bothered to look at the book and slowly went, well, this isn't terrible, and we're still testing it. It's only been testing it for about a year now, but it's been a slow test, and because it's taken that long to earn our trust, and we're still on the fence about it because we know what the problems are now. Well, we're not ready to just throw it in the dumpster, but we're also not ready to embrace it openly yet.
Yeah.
Tell me,
Like I
or
said.
I'll... No, not the
Go ahead.
buttons! Not my gumdrop buttons! All right, then.
I need to
Go
get
ahead,
to
Gary.
my- so- No, give me a second. What's up, Gummy? How you doing, bud? I forgot to turn off my events. I just had a
All right.
sound alert roll through. There we go.
That edition kills people. No.
I like a lethal game. I prefer a lethal game. I wish the GMs that were local to me would run a more lethal version of 5th edition than what I'm hearing about. I go to a game
So
store.
hard to
Say
Yeah,
again.
it is hard. It's so hard to kill anybody in 5th.
And Pathfinder 2. It's it's damn near impossible.
Well, the thing is that the one that I'm doing now, which is the Stargate SG1, is based off of the 5th edition SRD or Open Gaming, whatever. They've changed some stuff in it, so like the Zats are in there, stuff like that's in there, and it's basically it's they get 4th level, they get 2. They bump everything up by 2. I enjoyed it. There's only a couple things in it, and when I get to that in that presentation, I'll go over that, which I didn't enjoy. But for the overall, it was actually pretty good. I mean, the advantage disadvantages in there, I can live with that. But I mean, overall, there's just one mechanic in there that makes no sense and shouldn't be used at all.
Yeah, I've not heard of a lot of people discussing what they like about Pathfinder 2. I don't hear a lot of that. There's some people out there that really enjoy it, like GM Fritz from one of our affiliates at the Gatekeepers. But he's one of the few GMs I know that likes to run that game. Everybody else says Pathfinder 2 is a little too intensive for what a game should be. There's too many switches you have to toggle in order to keep a game going, and then you have to remember to toggle those off when the event ends. Otherwise, another event will start and the players are at severe negatives. Because last time you guys were in an adventure, you were in a burning room. Your con should be restored by 2 points out of 12. What? We took 12 points of con damage? Yes, it was smoky, remember? God. And it sounds like people don't like the bookwork.
Yeah, I mean that was my issue with it. Like I said, I ran that first module, and I'm like, you're shitting me. It had with a fire method inside. There was burning. They had to get people out, deal with smoke inhalation. Plus, they had to fight the method, and they were all the first level. That's dumb. And it was a piezo module, which makes it even worse. It was
I
of course.
almost feel like I've done the right thing by never looking at an actual piezo module.
Well, the other thing is that I've also noticed going back and kind of remembering is that when we were running Bruce's stuff, and Bruce was running modules, he moved some stuff around with some of those low level modules because for whatever reason they cannot write a low level module to save their life.
That's pretty normal.
It was hard for them to do that. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you.
It's real easy. You throw some orcs, some first level orcs in there, hobgoblins, some goblins,
a few bandits.
A few bandits. Yeah, I mean, it's not really that big of an issue to pull that stuff in. So it's just kind of like, what's going on?
Yes, GM Alcove. Thank you. Yeah, he's complaining about Dragon Dice there. Carl, that edition kills people.
Shh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Indigo, you may want to subscribe to Baron G-Rock because he's doing an entire dissertation, almost chapter by chapter, on Stargate SG-1 RPG.
Yep.
TW, I'm looking for your email, and
there is GM Alcove.
Yes, GM's Alcove and GM Fritz on Twitch. He's really good. Oh, that's crazy. Becomes classes 6th level. Okay. Not a lot of it's in it for non-combat encounters, which is great.
And then there's there's my YouTube link.
If you have Twitch,
and that's my Twitch.
Nice. Okay, so we have on to the next item on my list here. Garrett, to keep players, what do you usually do as a GM?
Bribery.
Okay, you mean like
no. Yeah. Well, it's like, and I'm sure you remember this because I think you were in this game. The first one I ever ran.
I think so.
Was the 3035 World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
No, I missed
that.
It
was a lot of fun.
I had 11 people at the table.
Oh, I'm really regretting that one.
Well, it kind of went downhill real super quick when one person who was a goblin decided he was going to use the gnome as his mount, and he would grab onto her bright pink ponytails as steering device. And he had me print out the print out the Ferengi rules of acquisition because that's how he played the character.
Ooh.
Think about it.
Man, I forgot about Sean doing that.
Yeah, and it didn't last too long because it was just as a new DM, it just was just too much. It was a little overwhelming. And then I got back into the foray. I started doing some smaller games and stuff like that. But I mean, typically, I find that if you've got a good story and you got players that are willing to play instead of play around, that typically you don't really need to worry about that retention, and that basically they'll keep you always leave them wanting more, so they just keep coming back. Every once in a while they'll bring a friend with them, and Chad keeps misspelling my name, but that's okay. I will throw things at it.
It's I've misspelled your last name for years.
That's fine. But yeah, it's two T's, two R's, two T's.
Okay.
But anyways, the but yeah, but the thing is that like I said, typically retention at the table is not a huge thing, but there are times where you get into kind of the robotic, okay, choo choo train has started. They see the choo choo train, they want to get off the train, and the train keeps snatching them back onto the train, and they get a little and then they try to go.
That is one thing about Chadzar. He spells like a programmer. God bless the
Spell-
programmer, but you give him an
spells
English
like
book.
no, he spells like a preschooler.
No. Programmers are worse than preschoolers. Preschoolers try. Programmers, the keyboard didn't get it. Fuck it. And
But yeah, I mean that's basically how I deal with retention, basically of players, is that it typically isn't something I really need to worry and need to really crack down on.
I only worry about it because, like, lately, this past year, with the pandemic going on, it seems like with all the people that had to change their schedules, half my table disappeared. And I'd been running that table for 3 years with 7 to 8 people per session. Now, others have left, and that's fine. You do that, you have people drift in and out. But the main thing is that I'm always looking for a group that can work together and not buddy fuck itself. I mean, you're gonna have like the rogues are predisposed to fuck with other players throughout the entire campaign.
No,
They can just do that.
No.
They can just do that. Like I take Jimmy's coin purse. What? Don't say that at the table aloud, please. And you have to teach them a little bit of decorum and such. But
Never say the quiet part out loud. It's the first rule.
Yeah, Bruce tried to get people to keep, like little kids trying to steal my coin purse.
Yeah.
So my MO was, well, I'm a cleric. My coin purse is in my cod piece. I will know if it gets taken.
There's a Catholic joke in that somewhere.
Oh, there is, but I'm not making it.
Okay. While we drive past the obvious, no, I was in keeping the rogues, like in the old days, it felt like you had to police the rogues more with the game. To come on, guys, be a party. Don't fuck over everybody. Don't steal everybody's fucking heirlooms. God damn it. And that was like my biggest problem for like the first 5 to 10 years of being a GM after I got out of the military. It was just pain in the butt trying to keep everybody together, stop fucking everybody. Stop trying to seduce everybody at the goddamn table. We all know you're open. That's great. But it was just a pain in the butt to try to find a group that meshes together. And when you have a group that they're together so long, they start celebrating their birthdays together. They go from being table compadres to best friends. That's kind of where there's this magical realm for you to have. And it won't last. You're going to have that table split up at some point. But, you have things that happen. Go ahead.
But the part is that if you have a table like that, where everyone's so connected, and it will break up. It never as long as you have them like on instant messenger or email, or you can Skype them later, it's often fun because you can actually like message them out of the blue and go, hey, so and so, I need you to here's the situation that's happening. How would you handle this if you were near the table, like another person, and suddenly you have a hidden co-GM that you didn't know about, and that your players have never met, that your current players have never met, and now suddenly they're going, well, of course it's just one of Blaine's NPCs. I can just go up there and go do this. I do this one little act to him, and it'll be no problem. I'll walk right through it. At which point I kind of go, one moment, and I hit speed dial and go, okay, and then I follow the battle plan that was sent to me by somebody else, going, oh yeah, they're gonna do this and screw with this. Here's how you kill them and obliterate them. And they go, huh? What? I'm sorry, you went after somebody who was actually a player character like you, but they're not at the table. That doesn't mean a damn fucking thing. They're players. They never quit being players. Or now you get to have a little bit more a alternate take on things. I have my way of playing. I have my way of running, and you can think and you can outsmart me, but can you outsmart somebody else who's playing the out 4, who's not me? At that point, I become judge. I am judge and jury. I'm not executioner, and let somebody else play op 4, and that's fantastic because now it's players going, wait, I gotta outsmart another player? Yeah. And they've got agendas, they've got goals, they've got characters they've built. And now the encounter becomes a whole lot more interesting because there's now actually some interplay happening. And they can't outsmart, they can't just go, you wouldn't punch me, I'm your best friend. This guy's never met you. He'll shank you in an alley and then throw your body in a dumpster and then light it on fire because that's what he does. That's what you guys do. Congratulations, you've met your equals. And suddenly they're like, oh crud. And the thing is that they know that I've been GMing long enough. I have a Rolodex of former player characters that I can just call up at any point. I can go, oh hey, I have like 3 people on speed dial. If it's an intrigue plot going on, or it's a political plot going on, or if it's a mage plot going on, or whatever I want, I've got players that I can just call up and go, hey, you're still my best friend, right? Here's the situation. How would you handle this? And suddenly it's a whole lot, it makes the game a whole lot better. So it's always good to make your best friends and know that when they're gone, there's still a resource for you.
I think the best game I ever saw is that there was a GM who was running on Tuesday and Wednesday in the same world. And basically what he wound up doing is he met both of them on a Wednesday night, had one group in one room, one group in the other room, and come to find out they were having a space battle over a ship. So he would literally go and do round and then go into the other room, do the the other round of what happened, and then the rebuttal basically. And it totally blew the both parties' minds because they were used to the GM's tactics.
Right.
Now they're dealing with tactics of people sitting at another table.
Yep. And my best one I ever had was I called five old players up. They all made characters, and so there was the main campaign, and in the background there was this battle royale bloody conflict going on between high-level characters who are just blowing up towns and stuff in the background. The whole party's going, "What's going on? Can you tell me what's going on here?" And here's me, the GM, going, "I have absolutely no idea what anyone has planned. All I know is that there's a fight going on about 3 counties over that's going to end up with a town disappearing off the map. What happened? 2 wizards went at each other. Well, why? Because they hate each other. What more do you need?" And they're all having a fight over who's going to get an artifact. And it's this great, wonderful thing. And then ultimately, like, one day the party goes, "We're going to go chase after one of these people because obviously it's an interesting NPC." And then I'm like, "You won't want to do that. Why? Because that player's going to eat you. But go ahead. Do it. Do it. Do it."
I think that the time where I let somebody be an associate GM, he had quit our game to go finish up his masters up in Utah. And we were still playing through the Slumbering Czar saga, which I will never not love that adventure. That particular night he returned, and that was the night where the D&D players were saying, "We're going to take on this tar dragon outside the city." The tar had an unusual quality to where it had an acidic base to it, and it would stick to your character for about 12 to 18 seconds, long enough for him to get another breath in and exhale it on the party. There was 8 players. One of them was a monk of the Zen Archer order, or whatever it was, that miserable archetype that kind of bends the
Yeah.
missile bow and arrow combat in Pathfinder in 3rd edition 3X is already broken as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do longsword damage to you from 300, 400 feet away. Whack. But then this monk has the ability to burn key points and do multiple attacks to you, and it was pretty ruthless. It was rough. So I'm letting Gob take care of the dragon because he wants to play, but he doesn't have a character. Let me play the dragon. Go ahead, man. Here's the stats for it. It's like 2 pages of stats for this dragon. It's a CR 15. No, yeah, it's a CR 12, my bad. And the party goes up to it. They're all 8th level, and there's a giant moat pit of tar they're wading through. It's about calf or knee deep if you're human, waist deep if you're gnomish or halfling. And all of a sudden, the deep part of the moat ripples a little bit, and the dragon pokes his head out of it pretty effortlessly because he doesn't have to worry about sticking to the tar. He's got the druidic ability to where he just slides through tar. Whee! He pokes his head up out of the tar and belches on the party. And the monk rolls a natural 1, so he's stuck with everybody else. And the dragon slides up to him in the next round of combat, sunders his bow, and that 4 out of 8 players died. Like beyond 20 hit points below 0. And in Pathfinder, that's pretty
That's
rotten.
dead.
Yeah. Because it was in the tar pit, the characters had to go back to town and get resurrected or wished. Hey, Mohammed. And we have a party that's like really pissed at the dragon. And it's about 11 o'clock at night, hour left at the store, and the owner comes up to us and says, "You guys can stay here late. Gob's got the key." Cool. So we all stick around till about 5 a.m. and they had a TPK on their second attempt, and on the third they finally killed the dragon, but they burned through their entire winnings up to 10th level. Everybody had a sizable amount of money, like 200,000 in a guild bank somewhere, and they went through almost all of it trying to keep themselves alive and equipment in one piece. It was so much a slog. And for that player that came back, I think that was probably the happiest he's ever been.
I don't blame him.
His old coworkers and conspirators at the table because he went off to college and he comes back. Yeah, I'll play. I'm going to be the DM's friend though. and we did that till about 5 a.m. I miss that group. They were fun. Some of
Sounds
them,
like it.
say again.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it was absolutely. Uh, you have one of those tables that we played together for about 2 years, and I wouldn't say we all were friends, but we knew each other's birthdays. Half of us would go to the movies together. The other half was their kids, and we're not taking you shits to the movies. It cost us money to go there. No. And so that was interesting. There was like 3 kids out of 5 and 5 adults plus myself. And watching that party go through that slog that night, I was chewing on coffee grounds by the end of it.
As you should.
It was good. Hold on here. Oh wow. Shadzar. Wow. There's Muhammad. TW's been in that dungeon before. Say that word, Blaine.
Not this time. And not this time either.
Yeah. As much as I like to talk about politics, when it comes to gaming, I try not to because I want to keep a table. I want to. You don't have to respect me as a person, but as a person who runs a table, I do ask for a little bit of respect there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important that you kind of foster friendships at the table. I think that's something that you want to do because you're going to be spending 6 or 5 hours with people at an average to where you're going to get to know people. And
Yeah.
just as gentle reminder, if you're in person gaming, do not forget your deodorant.
Right.
Don't disrespect everybody by going there freshly out of your landscaping job or sanitation job and smell like it. Don't do that. Go home, invest time in a shower, scrub. My streams, by the way, well, let's talk about Duke Cannon soap, heavy duty hand soap, got a good promise to it. This is a big ass brick of soap. Listen, not everybody needs this, okay? Not everybody needs a Cadillac either, but god damn it, they're fun and comfortable to drive. And this is a super lathering soap brand. You guys, people, you want a brand of soap that's going to last you a month? This thing lasts you a month, okay? This is a 28 millimeter miniature. Look at that big ass brick of soap. That thing's fucking huge. $7 at most stores gets you a Duke Cannon bar of soap. They have Lone Star soap, which it smells like the shavings from a guinea pig cage. I don't really think that's great, but they have it. They have other beer soaps too. They have a PBR soap. They have a bunch of stuff on Duke Cannon's website. I recommend it. Carol's Cookies hits one out of the park with don't be the smelly dude at the table. Exactly. Don't be the one that we know you didn't shower. We can smell you. Don't be that guy. Don't.
Right.
Respect your fellow gamers. You don't have to kiss everybody's ass, but go there at least not smelling like work. That's a big takeaway. And if you're going to a convention, if you are going to a convention, if you're staying a night, stay at a hotel. Don't sleep in the anime room. I wouldn't recommend that. You people do it anyway. Yeah, Duke Cannon is what Bruce carves his minis out of for that fresh gun barrel smell. Oddly enough, they do have something that smells like you're in Texas. They have the Gunsmoke soap, which it smells like charcoal briquettes and gunpowder. It's really weird. And Cal's right. We never spoke of politics back in the Satanic Panic times. We were too worried about getting blown up by the Ruskies, and then the table would talk about that, and there's the boogeyman for you. But you wouldn't talk about politics typically. That just wasn't it. Curtis says if you can make friends at the table, the players, it becomes more fun, and you want to be good to each other at the table, because in all honesty, you might have like one of those moments where you're 3 hours in a game and you're in the middle of a dungeon, but there's an Arby's across the street and you really want some. If you're broke or short of cash, one of the other players probably won't mind floating you $4 or $6 so you can fill your belly up and be able to continue. I hate being the guy at the table that I get hangry if I don't have calories.
As long as you pay them back, yeah.
Yeah. And if you bum, reciprocate, pay them back, or wash their car or help them. But just be decent fucking people to each other. Why are we having to say that to people as a request? That should be just common sense. It should be just common sense, but some people are very selfish and they don't want to think of others, or they don't want to think that somebody else could have the same low as they did, not knowing the other person. And that, you're going to develop conversation. The gaming is 90% of gaming is bullshitting at the table. It doesn't have to always be, but you guys are going to get to know each other pretty well after the first month of table time. That's a nice color for a silencer on a gun barrel, says Cal. Travis says, clever marketing for the top gamers. Can I get a Bonanza soap for that Ponderosa pine smell? Ooh, that'd be nice.
Here, I'm going to paste in what my chat has said.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And
From NZTNT.
we just summoned Demon to eliminate politicians, and we are needed again as nice bees needed. Give a handy, just be nice. Carol. We have some Ponderosa pines here at lower altitudes. Yeah, I do like East Texas for that. Avatar, you have, with all that small and my power, you'll.
Screw you with all that, with all smell. You smell my power and you will love it. Soap is bad.
No.
Cal's like, I grew up on a cattle ranch. Hell yeah. I did not, but I value cattle very much. And Carol apologizes. She says she's terrible, but we know she's going to do it again, and we love her for it.
Yeah, the gentleman who I pasted that in from, he's a very good friend of mine from New Zealand, and yeah, he was an extra in the Lord of the Rings. He was one of the orcs, so that was cool.
Dude, that's rocking.
That is.
I heard that they had like a couple days where they took the orc extras and they had them mimic walking back and forth with a horse riding stance, kind of just ambling about this room, just going back and forth, and then saying, how would a person think if they walk like that? And they did some pretty impressive body posturing and movements and such. That movie's still it's still a very nice classic. Actually, just hit classic status, I think. The Two Towers. ISU getting to know the players now, it's just better. If your table rotates a lot of people in and out, you really don't want to get to know them all, because you have a phone full of people that are just saying, I wish you'd play it this time, and you have life to deal with. No, I have these 8 hours of the week I can deal with, and I can't give any more. And if you're able to run weekly, that's great for you. That really is. If you're running 4 or 5 times a week, I question your sanity. But if you have that time and you have that, that's great. I wish I could run weekly, but my players and my schedule, it does not allow that. Hey, Man of War, you have a restful night. Get some serious rest, and good luck on the PT tomorrow. I don't envy you on that.
No.
Me either.
Cal's like, I'm in coastal California. Parts of that area, parts of coastal California are beautiful. Not all of California, but most of California is.
Northern part of California is beautiful.
I could go back up towards Mount Shasta, Paradise area. That was great. I could hang there again. It really didn't feel that different from where we were at in Peoria. Just you have mountains. But
Now we got the bluffs, so yeah.
Yeah. Garrett, is there anything
Yes.
you want to add on with bringing new people in the game? Is there? I know your brain's always thinking, it's always churning. What have you got?
I mean, truthfully, I mean, the big thing is that if you, it depends on the group you're trying to attract. If you're trying to attract, because even as a GM, you want to attract, I'm going to say, a certain type of player, or a certain age group to your table, because maybe you don't want to deal with kids, or you don't want to deal
PG-13,
with
yeah.
or maybe you don't want to deal with the old first ed, or THACO players that where they're the wizards that sitting in the corner going harumph, 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 all the time.
Wait. What
Don't
if
talk to
you
me till I'm
want?
5th level.
What if you want to have a guy like Carl at your table and he devours the pie?
I blame you for all that.
We had this guy at our table.
Okay, no. I
Go
do it. I tell this story much better. So we had a New Year's party at the game store, and there was a little mom and pop grocery store about a block down, and basically we went down there, grabbed some food. Well, I grabbed like 2 or 3 pecan pies. I'm like, it's New Year's, we'll just do this. So Carl gets his pie, slices it in half, and we're like, oh, he's going to carve up the pie. No, he scoops out half the pie in his hands. He takes this and then folds it in half. He unhinges the jaw. Now, the man had a beard down to like here.
Oh,
Unhinges the jaw, starts to feed in the pecan pie. The little gnomes are out there coming out of his beard, helping to shove this pie into his face. And one of the ladies who were there turns to him and goes, Carl, why don't you use a plate? And Carl, he had some breathing issues. He goes, my mom has been trying to get me to use a plate for 40 years. It hasn't worked yet.
That was something interesting about Carl, because he would just cross a room and he had breathing problems, and you could, I was so happy that none of our game stores had stairs.
Yes, very happy. But yeah, it was literally, the little gnomes come out and are helping to feed in this pie.
They grab the crumbs of the pecan pie crust and they force it into his pie hole, and they continue to pump away, and you can see his jaw moving, chugging like a steam locomotive. And
Not you.
he was starting to get like sweaty from all this exertion. I remember that.
No.
He's okay. He's just one of those players that you have at your table, and he's one of those guys. I mean, he's on disability. He's got other things going on in his life that have given him trouble. The gaming offers him a good outlet, a creative outlet, and he definitely needs the gaming, because if not, he's going to sit at home with his mother, and it's just not really those situations. His family relationships are healthy, but he was also 40, so now he's in his 50s, and I worry about his health. I hope to God he never gets the coof. That would be rough for him.
Yeah.
But he was always in bad shape, and like Mike from the what was that game store in Peoria?
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Michael has said that listening to Carl go up the 3 steps in the back where the stage area was, he said that was just painful to listen to it, because you could hear like 2 boxes of Rice Krispies rattling back and forth as he pumped himself up the stairs. He's in bad shape. I don't know where he's at now, gaming wise. I'm sure he's got a table. I'm sure he's got people he hangs out with. But that was one of the most rewarding New Year's Eve parties I've ever had. And then we revisit that almost every time we get together afterwards. And Carl, he kind of piled in on it. He knew that, like, this is a joke, kind of at your expense, but that was funny as fuck. I've never seen somebody fold up a John pie like a New Jersey pizza and chew on it before, and he did. But no, we don't be that guy at the table that the eating habits are discussed 10 years later and we still have a good laugh. Don't be that guy. And don't be the DM that always brings it up like me either. But I think mainly, like, one of the best things you can do to keep a good table is to be available for your players, because a lot of times they will call you or ask you questions on instant messaging. I need to know about your game world, or I need to have this answer. Don't disrespect them. Don't act like the dick from Zero Charisma, which I love the movie, but I would hate to have him as my GM for a game because I would leave the table. But just be there for your players when they ask you a question about the game world. If you can help it, put together a primer. Put together like a 3 to 5 page about your campaign and what you are looking for to develop, if you can, or even just a paragraph. If that's too much for you, just get a paragraph of it and have that shared amongst the players, or put that out in a text message. And that way you can bring them closer into the mindset for what you want for your game.
And also, if you are running like a module or something like that, one thing that I have noticed now is a lot of companies are actually putting out primers for the modules, a
They're
player's
wonderful.
guide for it. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's great because then you can go, hey, this is what your characters know about and what they think they know, and make it real simple for them to be able to do that.
And I don't want to sound I don't want to sound privileged, but I think the people that grew up in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, I think when it comes to this hobby, this niche hobby of tabletop gaming, we were really blessed, and not in like a biblical sense, but we were right there as the iron was striking hot, and we had this great selection of games to play and rule books to open, and we were the latchkey kids. We were able to, we were coming home, our parents were at work, we could get our stuff done and then head over to the game store, bring friends over, hang out in the garage and play the games, or we could schedule a game for Sunday. But the thing was that we were able to have this hobby where we were all able to partake in it, and we were able to have these fun times. Most of us did this whenever we didn't have responsibilities as teenagers, which is why we love the game still. But and we're I think we're still trying to capture that, and I don't think that's a bad goal. But I want future generations, I want future tables to be able to still have that fun, even if it's a virtual table. I
Thing
think. Go ahead.
is that the younger generations, they also are having those exact same moments that we had when we were younger. They're having it too, and they're actually having sorry, this is another anecdote I've watched. I've introduced kids to gaming, and I'm like, well, obviously, I only have X amount of time I'm running my sessions, and then, at first they were like, well, we don't know what we're doing, this is kind of weird, and then they start to like wander off, and then about like 6 months later, a bunch of them come to the table going, oh yeah, we're in the middle of a really cool Shadowrun campaign. I'm like, wait, we can be playing Shadowrun right now? Why are we playing Dungeons and Dragons? Oh, and then I get slapped in the back of the head going, no, focus, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And here's me, but they're talking Shadowrun. Why are we playing this? And then again, I get smacked in the back of the head going, no, Dungeons and Dragons is how we teach people how to become gamers. You don't get to play the good fun games. Let the kids learn to play the fun games on their own. But I want to play fun games too. I want to run fun games. No, Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, but I want to play Exalted. No, I want to play 7 Seas. Stop it. Stop trying to have fun. Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. Ah! But yeah, but we all have that benefit. Like, we all went through this, but we don't see that other kids are also going out and going, they're having their campaigns, and we're just not seeing them. And because we kind of isolate ourselves into going, well, this is our group. This is our slowly condensing, focusing, refining, purifying little group of friends and our ideals. We don't want to let in new people because that might change what we loved 25 years ago. And 25 years ago, the game was fantastic. It's still fantastic. You can still go back and enjoy those games. But we're trying to capture lightning in a bottle to recreate what we enjoyed 15, 20 years ago. Well, we're no longer 18 years old. Right now, there's somebody who's having their lightning in a bottle moment of going, wow, this is really awesome. They're having their stories that we look back 20 years, 20 years ago, that was an amazing campaign we had, or that was an amazing adventure. I remember when my character got killed by that thing. We're not seeing that because we're no longer in that group, but they're having them. We're just not seeing it.
I guess we're not seeing it, but I guess that also happens whenever everything goes from in person to virtual.
That too. I mean, there's some people out there who they're like, where a kid came out and like I'm in like 6 campaigns. Well, where'd you find the time? And then he goes, well, my Saturday I have a morning campaign, I have an afternoon campaign, and I have an evening campaign. Then I have 2 more during the week, and then I have 1 on Sunday. And I'm like, wow, how do you keep it all straight? And he goes, I have notebooks for all of them. And I'm like, did I do this to you? Did I teach you how to do this? He goes, well, you introduced me to how to play Dungeons and Dragons. Then I found all these other games. I'm like, I'm both sorry and happy for you. I'm sorry you have no life, but now you have all these friends. Good luck. Go have fun, my son. Go. Push. And that's it.
That would be interesting.
And it's fun. Like, some people go, this wasn't my hobby, and they leave. But like I said, there's a lot of kids who all have their weird moments, and now as I deal with alumni who've been playing for now 3, 4, 5 years, they look back at their first adventures and go, that was a lot of fun. That was my first time when X thing happened. But then they start telling me about their stories. It's no longer just me telling them about my old stories. Now they're telling me about their stories that they did when I wasn't around. And I'm like, tell me more about your character. And suddenly now they're no longer this young kid who I saw walk into my classroom. Now they're like juniors in college, and they're going, yeah, this is what I've been doing. And I'm like, and I go, so how old are you again? He's like, 21. I'm like, let's go to the bar. You can tell you, I'll buy the first round. You tell me about your campaign. Cool. And then we go off. So
it's not a bad way to end that.
No. And that's what and that's what we're all like. What we should all be aspiring for. Like, when we see a young, like, you meet a new gamer, take them out for a beer and hear their stories. It's fun.
The ability to share those experiences, that's one thing that you're going to probably do 5 or 10 years from that table moment, kind of like what I'm doing with you guys. And you're just going to find that you still laugh over simple, stupid moments, you're gonna find yourself chuckling way too hard at things, and that's one of the things that the gaming does. It brings you into close contact. You get to know people really well, maybe more than what you are comfortable with. If we talk about pony porn, but you talk about everything together, and
Yep.
you have all of these various moments, and later when you reminisce, it's like you're opening a present that you opened up 10 years ago, and you can have that. And there's not many hobbies out there that bring you into contact like that.
No.
Chad was like, sounds about as boring to hear people talk about their old games as like watching Critical Role. No, no, no. I
Well,
I
here's the
disagree with
thing.
that.
I mean,
Go ahead.
ultimately, to kind of go off to caveat off that little point. I mean, then if the goal isn't to actually have a cool story that you're going to tell somebody else that after the game, what are you actually playing for? Like, what are you besides having a cool story you can share with friends? Like, like I've met people online that through gaming, and then met them at conventions, and be like, and well, we already have a common history, and then we start just swapping stories. Like, well, we can't just just pull out character sheets and go, well, now that we're all in person, character GM screen goes up. Now you fuckers are dead. I'm gonna roll now to kill y'all. No, that's not how it works. Well, it can work if you've prearranged that's what's going to happen, but for the most part, no, you really don't do that because you're going to have some fun because you got to meet this guy for a little bit, and plus, this is how you get to know your fellow players. So that way, well, say I've never met Garrett before, never once, and so supposedly I'm going to meet, I'm going to invite him to my table. Well, obviously I know a little bit from somebody else who introduced him. I'm going to talk to him a little bit. We're going to swap some stories. Who knows? Hit it off, have some fun, and then go, oh shit, that's a cool story. Tell me more about that. And now I know when it comes time for game time what to expect out of him because I now have a cool story or two that I've gotten out of him. And now I could tailor my game a little bit better. So I know, sure, make that robot a bit of a horrible monster for to be reprogrammed for his benefit, and it'll be fun. And you need to have more fun than just getting a little bling trinket that you write down and never tell anybody else you ever want it. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Okay. Shedzar had a comment last week
Well,
about
that was last week. He doesn't
but
even remember what he said 10 minutes ago.
but
I'm messing Shad, sorry.
You
Had
play for
to.
hookers and magic items. Yes.
okay. Um, the reason why you're playing is because you're playing the game. You're playing the
Mhm.
game, and even if it might mimic like a board game, or if it's a full immersive RPG where you're actually doing role playing and you're having courtly romances and you're involving yourself with various factions, the group of people you're playing with, I think, is why you're going to really just do everything you can to enjoy those moments you have in game. And when we're in the middle of it, we're not thinking about have the cool story, chicks dig scars. You're not really thinking about that. You're thinking about fuck, I need a cleric to heal up my goddamn wounds. Maybe the paladin will do some sort of miraculous burst of healing on us. Hopefully, there's a lot of reasons why you're playing. There's
Yeah.
a ton of reasons, but playing a game, like, only gamers really understand those crunch moments that are in a game that we've all kind of had a shared experience with, even though we've never all sat at each other's table. We all know that feeling of dread when we see a low single
Yeah.
digit number roll up on the die, when it's like, make your fear save, the dragon's right on top of you. Fuck. you know? And Shadzar had a really good comment on YouTube, and I kind of want to read it and I kind of don't, but I think you've already seen it, Blaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got
And what we don't want to do is we don't want to have a tepid gaming experience. I'm a
no.
tepid person when it comes to having a conflict at the table. A serious tepid. I don't want to have players backstabbing other players. I really don't.
No.
You can, but you'll get like it's like playing a game of diplomacy. Somebody's going to get really pissed over the actions in turn 3.
Yep. Oh,
Um,
you got nukes. Oh shit.
exactly. But you can only really share these experiences with people that have played RPGs. And one good thing about Dungeons and Dragons is that the game theoretically has not changed much. It's still in 5th edition. Walk down the corridor, find the monster, slay the monster, get the experience points, take the treasure, and continue on. That's a rant that Bill Helmbacher used to say all the time. And in 5th edition, they've changed things a lot compared to what it was in the basic Holmes, Moldvay, BX, Beckme. It's changed hugely. But everybody that's played a version of D&D probably has had a moment, if they're playing an actual game, not Dungeons and Discussions, they probably have had a moment where the dice are going to fuck them. And
yeah.
they're watching the dice just fuck them over hard. And somehow either they have what do they call it, a Hail Mary moment where one of the other players saves their ass, or they have a TPK. But other people won't understand that unless they've been at a table like what you have.
Yeah, but you're also in a bit of a camaraderie. You're. It's almost like you're in a group where you've all been. If you're a gamer, it's why gamer war stories are so much fun to share with other gamers. Like we've all been through that fire. We've all seen it. Like I know I said it's a cool story to tell, but the thing is that the story is an emergent property from all the events that are happening. So like if I go to someone strange and go, "Hey, we were in a dungeon. This is all this happens," they're gonna look at me and go, "I have no idea." But if I go to a fellow gamer and go, "Oh yeah, there was this moment where we were like Bob was down. There's a full fire going, and a troll in there. And also out of nowhere, the wizard pulls fire out of his ass, blasts everything, and we were all saved. Hooray!" The fellow gamer goes, "Oh, that was a beautiful moment. That was a real pinch. That was a real like right there where you needed a moment." But like I said, that is a story that was an emergent property from the session that was actually being run, and we trade the condensed narrative. But we were actually still playing the game. But thankfully, we all knew how to speak the same language. So,
yeah. I guess, and Shedzar, he's a D&D TSR purist. So for him, it ended in '99 when WotC took over and allowed Monty Cook to bring out his version of the game. And a lot of people are like that, and that's fine. Play the games you have.
Play
Preferably,
the games you like.
yeah,
yeah,
preferably play the games you like and find people that can sit with you. And that goes for everybody out there. That goes for everyone. Find people that don't mind hanging out with you. It's not hard to be a good person, to be a team player, to plot, to plan, and to try to get every fucking gold piece and experience point out of that dungeon master of yours. That's what you're supposed to do if you're a player.
yeah,
And if you're a GM, it's okay to have the party fail every once in a while. You don't have to be, you're not part of their side. You're playing the rest of the world that they interact with. And sometimes that world isn't friendly. You don't have to be a killer GM, but they do want to be able to talk about the game and say how challenging it is or how hard the world is and how difficult their quest is. They want to have something that they can talk about over wine or beer or whatever.
right.
Give them that opportunity. Don't shortchange your players.
Oh,
Um, well, Bruce and your silly thieves, everything's a thief. There's only fighters, clerics, and mages before somebody fucks the game up. You gotta listen. The thief was necessary because you needed somebody to be able to go in there and do the things that clerics could not, and the wizards could not, and the fighters were good at standing there trading blows until somebody else could deal with a distracted monster, and that's what you need. Shadzar thieves were ideal for that. Cal talks about the bard. It could be an NPC storyteller, entertainer. It could be. You know, it's not a. Well, I won't go into class hatred. I won't even discuss sorcerers, but I'll just say that run the game you want to run, find the table that you want to administer to, and enjoy yourself. You're not going to save the world. You're here to play a game. You're here to hang out with friends, and eventually you're going to have a few sessions at the table that you're going to want to repeat again and again. So, you know, it's all right. You guys, whatever you have to do as a player or dungeon master, a referee, if you can go that mile, do it. But as a player, I'm going to encourage people to always talk. I always encourage people to discuss with their DM what he wants out of the world or she wants out of the world. I want people to talk with other players. Like I was thinking about doing this. What would you think would be good for the narrative or for the story or for my character? And ask questions. The entire game is based on conversation.
Yep.
So don't lose that art. Don't lose the art of being able to converse with people. Go ahead, Garrett.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sheds are.
I know it's weird. It's weird. People agree with Bruce. I know you're not used to that.
And Shedzar had made a statement kind of referencing Gary Gygax, and Gygax had said some controversial things way back in the day. And I would think that for back then, it kind of made sense. But now we have about 30% of the gaming populace is female. And I would say that's, you know, for tabletoppers, about 30%. I don't know if that's accurate for you two, but I think for me, that's probably not accurate. I get maybe 1 out of 6 or 1 out of 5 that'll be a female, and I'm okay with that. I don't
Our
want to.
table,
Yeah,
our table's about half and half.
like there was a period where I had Mike and Faith, and
Yeah.
everybody at the table with Bruce was married, and they brought their wife or spouse or kid. Their kid slept in front of the fucking refrigerator just to get attention. So, anyway, you want. I'm losing my train of thought here, and the reason why is because I'm thinking of various ways how to end this, but I'm at the 2 hour mark, and I probably should just end it. I want to make sure that when you guys leave the stream, you you reference the fact that hey, listen, they want to talk about how to get new players at the table. That's pretty important. You want to be able to entice people into joining that group, whether you're the dungeon master or another player. If you're a player and you know this person, it's a lot easier than a stranger at a game store. At a game store, it's going to be one of the easier moments that you'll have to talk to somebody because they probably know the lingo or they probably are interested already. And you're just coming up to them and offering them the candy they want on a silver platter. I want to play in a game. You're offering me a game. Let's go. Oh, okay, Shadzar. That was where Gene Hackman from The Replacement said, that's why women don't play the game. Where Keanu had stated, chicks dig scars. Chicks dig scars on their boyfriends or husbands, not on themselves. And Cal says, I got sick of bards as player characters. The K5K says, integrating new players and they've just joined. What type of game style elements they like most? Play to those and ensure you can call them deliberately until everybody makes space for them. I don't try to play to a player's type. I want to play towards the group actually, and I it's easier when the group gets along. That's just what I've found. If I start throwing people in their own special limelight, I'm pretty much going to run an 8-hour session where every player gets an hour to an hour and a half where they are doing their own thing. And I don't want to give them more than that because I don't want to make anyone feel left out. I want to give everybody their time to shine. It's already a game where typically the person that can rack up the most damage in a combat is going to shine. And in higher level games, it's typically wizard or magus, maybe a cleric or druid. Fighters, they top out early, then they kind of coast the rest of the game. But that's just. Cal says, "Yay! I'm still seeking a gamer wife." Attention,
Okay.
single female.
Easiest way, Cal. Dice. Buy
You
her
know,
shiny click clock math rocks. Done.
they're happy.
Yeah,
Very happy.
Oh, miniatures
Especially
too.
if they're
If you
shiny.
pay them up yourself, it's even better.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I'm still figuring out what I want to do with this guy's feet in the ground.
Oh, He-Man?
Yeah, He-Man with an axe and shield. I'm seeking a husband who doesn't play games, damn man horse. That's funny, Carol. Cal, I don't think I could stand it. We'd be fighting over the paint supplies. Oof. No. That's what you do with what I've got. You have your hobby room and another room, and her hobbies can stay in the bedroom. We used to kidnap players. You need sacrifices and demon worship. Cool. We've repeated 1987 again. Everybody, appreciate you coming in. Garrett, do you have anything coming up here in the next week or so that you're going to be doing?
I'll be finishing out the SG1 review and commentary that I've been doing on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Maybe doing some gaming this weekend, actual like PC gaming on my Twitch channel. Not sure. I've got to work on Saturday, so I've got to see exactly what I've got for time wise and everything else. So yeah.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend or in the next 7 days?
Trying to work on the National Novel Writer Month project, collect more lapel pins, and do more research for my next session. Yes.
Excellent.
If you guys want, Saturday I'm running a game on my channel here. I'll be doing that from about noon 30. Hopefully, I'll be in the chat at noon 30. I'll just say that 12:30 Central Standard Time. I plan on running to 9. I would like to run until 9 p.m. maybe later. People that know how to get in touch with me, if you want to game online and stream, I have availabilities. I have 4 available slots, and that's what it is. It's every 3 weeks we play in a campaign that's very tough. The players are not happy with their current lot in life. They're kind of sandwiched between an army and kind of a swath of wilderness that doesn't have a lot of good vegetation. Kind of like South Texas. It's scrubland and been salted after numerous invasions. But that's what I have planned for Saturday. Next Wednesday, as far as I know, it's still open on the Gatekeeper stream, so I'm probably going to grab a hold of that. We discussed doing an NPC discussion the other night, didn't we, Garrett?
I don't
Where were we
remember.
talking about that? Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I was slightly tired from editing.
Yeah. We've got some things going on. I'll post it in the Gatekeepers and Legion of Myth discords. For those of you people that want to know about it, if you want to, you can join my Discord. Garrett, if you want to get your Garrett, you want me to put your Discord in the chat?
That's fine.
Okay, let me do that. Copy.
Boop, 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 boop.
I feel jealous of Blaine because Blaine runs so many games all the time.
Don't be. It's fine.
All right.
Okay,
That
was a good
is
one.
Garrett's channel. This is my Discord channel. And
I have no Discord, never will.
say again?
I have no Discord, never will.
Okay. When you start running more games, quote unquote, online, I could see that happening, but not until then.
Oh no, it'll be a super secret dungeon. You can't come there unless you're invited.
Can I bring my pony porn?
Yes.
Awesome.
It'll go into the meme vault where nobody gives a crap to look at it.
All right, everybody, we appreciate you being here tonight. I'm sorry if I kind of got lost in the last 10 minutes. I was trying to figure out, okay, what direction I want to take this. Really want to wrap it up. We can save the rest of this for next Thursday. Before we go, Garrett, do you have an idea for what the topic of discussion could be next week?
I got nothing. We'll figure it out. We always do.
Okay.
Actually, probably
Sorry I was
next
so
week.
quiet.
Let me see. For next week, 'cause we've done editing. If you're running, like a module or something, how to put your own twist on stuff.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So, it's almost like probably get into a little campaign building and a little bit too,
Ooh, world building. I'm up for that.
Okay. We could do
There you go.
that.
That'll be our next week is world building.
Pets in the game. Pork, pork, pork. No, thank you.
Hey, I had a dog at my table. Harry was fine. Garrett, when you run, do you have your pups with you, or are they in another room?
Right now, they're in the other room because they have both decided they are going to partake in being part cat. They are now sitting on the back of the couch and barking at everything that walks by.
Okay. So
that's the reason the door is closed, and yeah.
Okay. Everybody in the chat, we really appreciate you being here. We wouldn't be having nearly as much fun without you because we wouldn't have the chat to bounce ideas off of and to do the jokes. Without you, this would be a very dull channel. And I thank you guys all so much for showing up tonight. If you want to, join our Discords. Come stop by at Garrett's Game Streams and check out mine on Saturday. We will talk to you later.
Bye.
Sorry about getting lost in the woods there, guys.
Oh, it happens.
All right, give me 1 second, guys. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and call it here. We're going to go ahead and do a quick raid. Let's see who's on. Let's see. Actually, let's go see our buddy Penalty Box. He's doing a little hunting there. So, yeah.